out the truck and let the bricks fall in.
The action's up to you.
The Legoland Public Works Center from the Legoland Town Collection. Legoland Gas.
Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have actor Joel Murray on talking about the new Who's Live Anyway tour coming here to St. Louis and also to Springfield, Missouri. We'll talk to him about his movie career and more. After that, Howie Hirshfield joins us to talk about his Edgar Allen Poe event at the Lemp Mansion here in St. Louis. All that and more. Stand by. We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. And for those of you driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight, listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you out there. Thank you very much for tuning in on this really nice Sunday in March. If you are streaming us, watching us on YouTube or Facebook, hello to all of you out there. We appreciate you doing that. If you're streaming us on the KTRS app or on the website, hello to you there. And of course, as always, if you are hearing us after the fact in the podcast form, we appreciate you finding us and subscribing on whatever platform you happen to be subscribed to the podcast. Full show tonight, so we're going to get right to it. My next guest is a distinguished actor with a ton of roles. We'll get to some of those, and you might have gotten a ticket to come here to the factory to see him live for the Who's Live Anyway tour. We are joined right now by Joel Murray. Joel, thanks for your time tonight.
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here.
So you were in Florida right now, you said, yes?
Yeah, I'm down in Tampa doing a movie presently. I took a little break from the Who's Line tour.
Okay.
And they're getting by without me quite fine, I hear. But no.
It looked like when I looked at the schedule for the tour, it looks pretty rigorous. You guys are like on 3 weeks out of the 4, it looks like.
Well, we did like 111 shows last year, and that ends up like 130 nights on the road at least. It gets to be extensive. I've performed in all 50 states now, 7 provinces in Canada. So yeah, it's a lot. So it's nice to every once in a while take a break and work on your acting chops and exercise that muscle, which is a different one than the make-em-ups.
I'm so curious because I was looking into your thing, born right up the road per se, Wilmette, Illinois, with having, you could have gone either way. You were the captain of your football team at Loyola, and you also starred in the school musical as in one of the lead roles. So I imagine there's an alternate reality out there where you went on and became a professional quarterback, and now you're doing commentary on ESPN in an alternate reality. Was that road ever one you looked at?
I delved for a second. I was a fullback and a cornerback, and I tried to walk on at Northern Illinois, and everybody was pretty much faster, and they were running a split offense all of a sudden without a fullback. And I picked up a flyer, and I got cast in a play Bus Stop rather than continue the brain damage that I had already started earlier in many, many ways. But that was the end of the football career.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure because it's interesting. I talked to someone and, I actually have a degree in architecture, and you're an actor now. That's interesting. So I always kind of wonder about the road not taken. So I figured I'd ask that up front.
Yeah. No, I was desperate. I stuck with the acting.
With being the youngest of 9 siblings, all of which who have very distinguished careers, and we obviously know Bill Murray and Brian Doyle Murray, and the family business. Is it just in the bloodline, or was there a little bit of pressure? Like, that's what my siblings are doing. I'm going to follow in those lines. Where did that fall for you?
No, I went exactly the opposite way. And at one point, my brother Brian suggested that maybe I could be Spalding in Caddyshack. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to be some femme actor like you clowns. No, I'm a ball player. I'm going to play college ball. But yeah, I probably messed up on that one too. But no, just out of the blue, Joyce Sloan, who was the matriarch of the Second City, invited me to a Christmas party and said, maybe it's time you start hanging around here. And sure enough, within a couple of weeks, I was taking classes with Del Close, the improv guru at the Improv Olympic, which we started and at the Second City. And it changed my trajectory. And all thoughts about being an architect were off at that point.
With improv, I'm a huge fan of improv and the stuff, obviously, that all of you do with Who's Live Anyway. Very improv based. I grew up watching that show. We'd be in lines at Six Flags Mid-America, and they'd have these screens. They'd be showing the old Whose Line Is It Anyway episodes. So was it one of those immediate things? It's like, yes, this is my wheelhouse.
I took to it strong. I did a little bit of it in college. And then when I got to the Improv Olympic studying with Del Close, we came in at a great time. There were a lot of good people that came together at the same time. It's kind of when you find your people. Mm-hmm. And we were doing it 5-6 nights a week and maybe making $14 a week. And it was all consuming. It was all we could think about. We were trying to figure out what, gem that Del Close was giving us every week in the classes and stuff like that. And he's given us the keys to comedy, man. And it was pretty spectacular. And one night we had like 60 people in a show at gas bars, and people from the Second City came to see it. And they're like, who are these clowns? My God, they got 60 people here. So they just hired us all. And then we were working for the man, and we were at the Second City and the touring company. We got to do that and start out as missionaries at Mirth, and then you work your way up onto the various stages and eventually the main stage.
With all the other stuff, I mean, when I look over your IMDb resume, I mean, you've obviously done comedy, you've done drama, you've done voice work, a lot of great voice work and everything. Did you find you kind of felt more comfortable in one aspect of it than another as you the more you grew as an actor?
No, I've always been an advocate of trying as many things as you can. Get as many scams as you can get going in this life, And I always say if you put enough lines over the edge of the boat, you're going to catch a fish on one of them. So, voiceover, acting, directing, writing, improv, theater, hopefully you're working somewhere. And, you just got to put it out there and keep trying. And I've always loved the variety of my career. I've always been kind of doing something different.
With Mad Men, which I think Mad Men is one of those series that when you talk about essential TV that everyone should probably watch, Mad Men, I think, has to come up in that discussion. Obviously, John Hamm's a St. Louis guy, so we're very proud of that, of him and that show. What was the audition process like when you were on that one?
Well, we had already seen the show. It was already kind of my wife and I's favorite show. It was on Sunday night, and we had seen a couple episodes. Like, oh my God, this is fantastic! And then I got an audition for it, and I usually an audition you read for like a casting agent, somebody's running the camera, but the callback on this one, all of a sudden there was like 15 people there, and I was like,
oh,
who
wow.
are all these people? And I thought I recognized one of the guys, and it wasn't my friend. It was, but I did the first through, right? And all of a sudden, the guy I thought was my buddy got up, and he was only like 5'6", and it was Matt Weiner, the head of the show. And he came over to me and he said, "Wow, you've got this sadness about you." And I was like, "Well, not really. I've got a great wife. My kids are pretty good." And I could see the casting agent behind his head just shaking her head really slowly back and forth. I go, oh yeah, no, I got that sadness thing in spades. Yeah, my dad died when I was 5. Oh, a lot of sadness. Yeah, sad. Oh yeah. Pets have died. Yeah, very sad. But I did it again for him, and I got the part. And the next thing you know, I'm doing a scene with Elizabeth Moss about the basket full of kisses.
Yeah, I mean, was that? I'm curious and like I said, we could spend the entire night. I only have you for a little while. We could spend the entire night going through all the stuff you've done and worked on. What was the project? Do you remember the project that you were in that you really felt like, I made it. I'm in. I've now arrived. Did you ever have one project that really kind of gave you that feeling?
No, I'm still looking for that.
Okay.
I mean, I was at the Second City. I thought that was the greatest gig in the world. And then I got hired off the stage there, and I was on a show called Grand, and I thought that was the end of the world. And then I could afford a house. I was a Chester the Cheetah for Cheetos at that point. I thought that was, I had made it. But, and then I got Dharma and Greg, and that was 5 years, 6 blocks from the house.
Oh, wow.
In LA, which is ridiculous. And everybody was really happy on that show and really a good time. And that was when I kind of thought, well, I can take the summer off. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have money in the bank when I come back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess that would be the one, Dharma.
I'm assuming, because you mentioned Chester Cheetah, I was kind of going over your resume because, like I said, you've done a lot of voice work. Was that your first voiceover gig?
It was close to the first, if not the first. Yeah, no, it was freakish that, and I thought that's just how the world went. And the guy, I told him before I did the first one that I had been out late. And so he said, well, you're broke, right? I'm going to send $50 over. Get all liquored up and bring that same voice that you brought the last time. So it was a pretty good gig. And after 11 years, I think the guy said, you're making more money than I am now. And you only work a half hour a year. So sorry, we gotta get a British guy that will just say cheesy instead of a rhyming kitty in the heart of Hip City.
I again, not to bring it back to Six Flags, but I worked at Six Flags where we had Chester Cheetahs that we would give out as prizes for the ring toss thing when people have the huge hula hoops over the elephants. It was a whole thing.
Sure.
That was a very popular. Do you have any memorabilia? Are you a kind of a nostalgic person where you keep aspects of different gigs you've worked?
Yeah, I've got a couple cells from Chester that I've signed myself, which is nice because I've autographed them for myself.
Good.
No, I got a couple cells. That's about it. There's a Funko Pop, which are collectibles. You guys are nerds.
Oh yeah, we know.
When I will do an autograph thing, which doesn't happen a lot, I'll sign a lot of these Funko Pops with Chester the Cheetah, and people like to collect those. So I have one of those.
And again, if you're just now listening, talking with Joel Murray about Who's Live Anyway, this show that's coming up, there's only like a few random seats left because I looked, I'm like, well, maybe the wife and I will go. And there's like a seat here. There's a seat way over on the other side. But this sold out so quick. It's such a fun tour because I saw it last time it came through. We had Greg Proops on the show. And it's so much fun. What do you think it is about this show that people just, oh, I got to see it. I got to get out there. What is it? The improv? Is it immediate feedback with the audience? What is it?
Well, it's, people need to laugh. It's a feel-good show. And, you've got Ryan Stiles and you got Greg Proops and Jeff Davis and myself. And, that factory is a good place.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a rock and roll room. And we sold it out the last time we were there. And I believe we've added another show.
October 30th.
There we go.
Yeah, you're coming back.
Another one. We sold this one out again. And I've got my book that I carry around, but yeah, that's right. We sold out the factory.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah, the guys at Two Brothers Leather Works made these up for us, and I actually used mine to put notes on the shows and ideas for improvisation.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, that's a great place. And backstage, it's one of the best backstages anywhere.
Oh, really?
They've got like a soft serve ice cream thing backstage. You don't get that, It's really good. It's all kind of brand new backstage. It's really, really quite nice. And the snacks, everything is just first class there. Yeah.
Do you have any rituals that you guys do before you go on stage? Are there any kind of superstitions that either you personally or you as a group, you guys kind of do before you go out for a new audience?
I don't think anybody has. I mean, I do some certain stretching and things like that, because you end up like starting out in some weird positions, doing a freeze tag or something like that. But no, not so much. Well, we've had some good times in St. Louis, surprisingly, being, the Chicago guy. You're not supposed to say it's a good time in St. Louis, but it can be. And again, you said I'm friends with Ham, the hamster, but he said, "Well, go to Bar Napoli," and so me and the tour manager and I went to this Bar Napoli place, and it was pretty cool, and it was all outside. And actually ran into one of my neighbors from Cheviot Hills back in L.A. And at a certain point, apparently these really attractive women show up, and that's when we left. But before that, my tour manager and I, the tour manager kept getting mistaken as John Hamm, which was very flattering to him.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
So does he play that off and be like, "No, yeah, that's me. Hi, sign a couple autographs, just play it off."
Just in St. Louis, which is strangely Ham's hometown.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my dad looked very much like Kirk Douglas, and people would kind of double take and like, "Is that Kirk Douglas?" But then they're like, "Why is Kirk Douglas in St. Louis?" So that kind of went away pretty quick.
Wow, good looking dad.
Not too bad. Obviously, I did not get it, but that's okay. With all the stuff you do, you're working on these projects. I was curious because Heels, I'm a Stephen Amell fan. You got to work with your real life wife as your wife in that. How was that experience? Because a lot of couples we've talked to love working with their spouses.
Well, sure. Who doesn't like to double dip on the payday too? Yeah, no, I had a great time working with Eliza Coyle, my wife. And my favorite moment was when we got to Atlanta during COVID, where you weren't allowed to do anything in LA, but down in Atlanta, if you had a mask on to get into a bar, you could then sit next to people and spit on them, and it was all fun. But my wife and I checked into the hotel, which we're going to be staying at for a month or something like that, and Mr. Murray, Ms. Coyle, and they handed us 2 sets of keys, so we were across the hall from each other for a month, and so it was great. We were dating again. And, we'd hang out and we'd have dinner or whatnot. And then after dinner, I'd be like, "Well, do you see any reason I shouldn't go back to my room and watch the Bulls game?" And she'd say, "No, I don't see any reason. I'm going to be watching this television show." "Okay, well, I'll bring you a coffee and a bagel in the morning." And it was kind of great. We were courting again, and again, making double dip money.
Very nice. That's always fun.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep you too much. I want to be cognizant of your time. I'm very curious with all the extensive work you've done, especially in comedy realm. People go back and forth since we're in International Women's Day. If you had to say a Mount Rushmore of your favorite female comedians, what 4 women would you put up on that wall, on that mountain?
Oh, wow. Well, I better say Eliza Coyle, my wife, just,
there you go.
You'd take a beating. Annie Potts, I worked with on a show called Love and War. She was just so damn funny all the time. Wow. Mount Rushmore, couldn't we just have like a billboard that
we could, sure.
I worked with Jenna Elfman, who was a very funny, physical comedian, and Shay DeLynn was on that show, and Susan Sullivan was absolutely fabulous on that show, who played Greg's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She should be on Rushmore. She's great. God, who else? That's a tough one. I worked with Jamie Gertz. She was wonderful. My friend Jen Irwin was on a show called Still Standing. She's funny as hell. I don't know. Can you have 20 people on Rushmore?
Sure, we can change it. We can. Why not? We'll just there's a lot of mountain there. We can start just chiseling them in underneath. It's fine.
Yeah. I can't name too many. Bonnie Hunt I worked with when I first came out. I was on a show called Grand with her. She was funny as could be to work with in both the Second City and her good friend Holly Wartell I was on the main stage at Second City with. Again, we're getting wider.
Right,
and
that's
it's
fine.
A big mountain. If you've ever seen it, it's just real small what they've carved. You could carve that whole thing. It could
easily
be 25 people wide.
Easily, yeah, that's a big mountain. We'll put more on there. We can always go 2 rows too if we want to stack them. That's fine. And again, if you're listening right now, if you want to come see this, there are still a couple single tickets available, but they're few and far between. So hurry up and book your ticket for October 30th. The boys are coming back to St. Louis at the Factory again. You make sure you get your tickets there. What else are you working on that people might be able to keep up with you? Are you active on social media that people can follow you online much? Or is it mostly, because I know you said you had several Zoom auditions today. Is it just a stream of work with you?
Well, no, it's lottery tickets mainly. That is the life. I'm doing a dark comedy down in Tampa right now called The Big Game about fanatical Florida fans on the big day, that the Florida State game, and it's dark. Let's just go with that. But it's funny, and what else have I got going on? Not a lot, but the Heels is on Netflix now. You can watch that there and catch all 2 seasons and write somebody a letter and saying, I need a 3rd season of Heels, which we're all open for still. I got a lot going on. I'm trying to get back to writing and doing some things, but the traveling and doing the Who's Line thing, it's a lot. It's consuming. It's all the United States. We got to go bring the mirth to everyone, and it's hard. It's like being Santa Claus, but with jokes.
Right. Which is, I think, a great way to envision Santa Claus. Again, it's the Who's Live Anyway tour. Catch them at the Factory, October 30th. And if people want to find you online, social medias, are you very active social media-wise? I'm Joel Murray 9 on Instagram. Joel Murray 9 of 9 on some of these. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. I'm easily found. Okay. I'm the guy that looks like me. There you go. And we'll be sure to keep up with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're an hour ahead of us. I appreciate it.
And for you moody loners, I think there's going to be a surprise guest at the Factory.
Oh, really?
Somebody
okay.
hasn't done the show with us before, but has a lot of credit. And I'm excited to play with him.
Those single tickets might be just snapped up tonight, then knowing that now people might go in like, yeah, I'm going. My kids don't have to go. My wife doesn't have to go. I'm going to go. Before I let you go, usually we do this off air, but I know I want to get you out of here. When we come back from commercial break, we have these return liners, and it'd be, hi, I'm Joel Murray. And I wonder if you couldn't do one for me, because I was thinking about it afterwards. If you could say, hi, this is Joel Murray, and it's not easy being geeky, since it's Geek to Me Radio. Would that be?
Geeky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, it's Joel Murray, and it's not easy being geeky.
Perfect. So happy to have you on. Hopefully we can have you back, because like I said, I had so many notes to talk to you about. Maybe in October we can get you back on when you come back through again.
That October show, I'm already excited for.
Me too. Hopefully I'll be able to bring my wife to that one. So Joel Murray, thank you so much. It's been a delight. Have a great rest of your night.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you.
You
Take
too.
care.
Thank you. Be well.
Bye-bye. You too.
There he goes. Make sure you check out the show again. There's a couple tickets left. Last time I looked on Ticketmaster. Grab them while you can. And if not, October 30th, they'll be back. We're going to take a very brief commercial break. We are going to come right back in just a moment. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
Separately from town.
Black Steel Robo Force!
Hunter the Conqueror is about to attack Max Steel the Leader! Wrecker the Demolisher to the rescue!
Ideal's new Robo-Force. Warrior robots with gripper bases and crusher arms, each sold separately.
Hunter's escaping!
Okay in there?
Okay, Dad! But we won't be safe till we're rid of Hundred.
Hundred the Conqueror, Max Steel the Leader, Wrecker the Demolisher, each sold separately. New from Ideal's Robo-Force.
Long ago at Rose Petal Place, Orchid met Nastina, the evil spider. Dolls sold separately.
Oh no, Orchid! It's Nastina! Wait till I tiptoe through your tulips, Rose Petal. Watch out, Nastina! The sky is falling! I won't fall for that! Gotcha! That'll keep her in her place.
Rose Petal, Nastina, and Orchid dolls come with all you see here, each sold separately. New from Canada. Sea-Wee's Tropicals. It's Kenner's Sea-Wee's Tropicals. Camille, Baby Cascade, and Pelly Pelican. She's tan, has pretty blue hair you can comb, and looks cute in a little grass skirt. You can collect Flora Tropical, Baby Finella, and Little Dog de Bloom. Seaweed's Tropicals. Seaweed's Tropicals, Camille, Baby Cascade, and Pelly. Other Seaweed's Tropicals sold separately.
Introducing the new Play-Doh Mop Top Hair Shop.
Well, they're the mop tops, the Play-Doh mop tops. Just turn the chair.
They grow Play-Doh hair.
They're the mop tops,
You can comb it, wave it, style it, or shave it.
the Play-Doh mop tops.
You can let it grow down to his toes.
They're the mop tops,
From the Play-Doh Mop Top
hair shop.
The Play-Doh Mop Top Hair Shop, sold with everything you see here. New from Kenner.
Here's Sit and Spin from Kenner.
You can spin around, sit around, even carry it around. Let's go inside.
And go Dogtown, Dogtown, Dogtown.
Hello, everybody. It's your pal Greg Proops from Whose Line Is It Anyway? I'm the Specky one, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Let's get it on.
Greg Proops, obviously one of the people you'll be able to see at the Who's Live Anyway tour, coming to the factory in Chesterfield. And Joel was right. That is a fantastic venue. If you've not seen a show there, the last one I saw was when John Cleese came through. Fantastic venue. There's not a bad seat anywhere. I mean, they've got balcony seating. Even in the back row, you can still get a great shot of the stage, the way they've got it raked. Not raked's not the right word, but the levels they have. Anyway, great facility. If you got a chance to get out there and see a show at the factory, I suggest you do. Speaking of great venues, my goodness, historic St. Charles has so much to offer. If you haven't been there lately, may I recommend starting at the website, discoverstcharles.com, discoverstcharles.com. They've just had a bunch of stuff going on. They just had their second annual Once Upon a Valentine's Day Festival, which was a lot of fun. If it's not a festival like Halloween, Legends and Lanterns, or Christmas traditions, they'll have food truck days out in Frontier Park. They'll have the Heritage Days. Scottish Tartan Days are coming up in April. So you can put on your kilt and go out and toss a caber with your friends out in Katy Park out there by the depot. It's I'm sure there are a lot of people out there today because whenever the weather is nice, usually my wife and I try to take our dog Grimlock for a walk. And he's just the belle of the ball. Everyone stops and pets him. But it's so nice to just walk along the cobblestones. You pop into Sugar and Slice and grab some macarons, or you go to Salt and Smoke, sit on the patio, have some great barbecue. Pop in Chuck and Lou or the Cozy Shop and get a nice sweater or in this case, t-shirt, now that the weather is starting to warm up. Nice comfy t-shirt. Or go to First Capital Trading Post if you're looking for a cool Disney item or something like that for your mantle or your collectible room. St. Charles really does have it all. These little antique shops you go in, you get in kind of lost back in the back. It's really cool. In addition, like I said, to all the fabulous festivals that we got, the restaurants, the shops, these are all small businesses. And in this economy, please get out and support small businesses. I know a lot of people are, worried about, the big corporations. It's easy. Go ahead and buy a t-shirt from Chuck and Lou, or like I said, pop in First Capital Trading Post, get some macarons, or go to Kilwin's right there in the corner and get some ice cream. Always cool places to see no matter what you're looking to do. Just get out and have some activity, whether you're in Alton or whether you're in Tampa, like our friend Joel Murray, just calling in from Tampa. Plan your trip at the website, discoverstcharles.com. Once again, discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Speaking of good time, we have Howie Hirshfield, actor extraordinaire in the studio. He does Edgar Allan Poe at the Legends and Lanterns Festival in St. Charles. If you liked what you saw there, he's got a show coming to the Lemp Mansion, which I assume is a perfect place to do a Poe event.
Going to be downstairs in the Brick Room. It's a very atmospheric place. My friend David Carr designed images that'll be sprayed on the back wall. You'll have birds, you'll have cemeteries. The perfect Friday or Saturday night at the end of March as we get close to, scary season for me is all year long. So.
Right, yeah. It doesn't need a specific date on a calendar.
Just ask my loving wife, Rebecca. She will tell you it's scary 365 days a year.
So did this event come out of you doing Poe at Legends and Lanterns in St. Charles, and you decide, hey, did someone approach you? Did you pitch the idea? How did this come about?
No, I woke up at 4 in the morning, and after, a little bicarb and settling back in, thought, hey, I love doing this character. I enjoy him. People enjoy talking to him. James, we've done this for 9 years, coming up on our 10th anniversary, and we just mingle all day long. And I thought, let me scale this into an hour and 10-minute show. let me go ahead and put something together that we can go ahead and do for an audience. It has excerpts from his best stories and poems. Every show ends with a reading of The Raven and the images behind us, and I'll be dressed up. I'll have a mustache by that time. You know, now that I've turned 15, I can grow my own facial hair.
Very impressive how it's coming in.
It's very slow. It's slow. But by the time we do the show, end of March, it should be there. And we even got a brand new hair for this.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd never see new hair again, but and I didn't have to call Hans Wyman at all. I just went to the Grand Wig Company, actually, downtown. But our friend Tracy does wigs too.
Yes, yeah, so, Tracy's great. Does great costumes, great hair.
Great hair, right here. We met because we're doing this all over town.
Okay.
We're going to do Mary Shelley and Edgar Allan Poe over on Belleville Books on the East Side, April 26th. We will be performing together.
Does Lord Byron know about this?
Well, is Lord Byron the one who drowned and then his heart's resurfaced? So
this is post-drowning, so he doesn't care. We're
right,
good.
Right,
okay,
right.
All right, that's fine. Carry on.
I saw some bubbles. It could have been him. I'm not really sure. It could have been the bubble bath. I don't know. But we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to go out and do this show. St. Charles County Library at the Spencer Road branch. And we're going to be up at, of course, the Grand Opera House, another St. Charles landmark venue with our good friend Greg. And we're going to do that show in June.
Yeah, that's right there on North Main. Used to be Java Jazz and Blues. I used to get coffee there all the time.
Yeah, years ago it was Caveman Express. That was 3,000 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it was a Subway too. I think in between, it was a Subway restaurant.
Yeah, you could
really?
Get coffee to go. At least they said it was coffee. Something was ground up. It may not have even been. Yeah.
When you have to chew before you swallow, the coffee is too strong.
That's good advice.
That's just letting you know.
Yeah.
So this is when you're workshopping this, and especially if you're bringing in our friend Tracy to play Mary Shelley. Did you collaborate in this? Is this something you wrote? Did you have help writing it, or did you write all this? Everything you're doing
I had
yourself?
help writing it. My co-writer was Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, nice. Okay,
I went through, so there'll be excerpts from The Cask of Amontillado and The Mask of the Red Death. I believe Anthony Beauvais is going to do a poem, but he's also going to help me with the one where the guy gets walled in Poe stories. Everyone gets walled into something.
Cask of Amontillado. That was where he's walled
right.
in. Yeah.
The black cat. The cat gets walled up. In this case, his friend Fortunato gets walled up, and all for a good wine. When you could just go down to dirt cheap and pick it up, on the fly. But this is much more fun, and you can have wine at the Lemp Mansion. It is available there for you, and any drinks you'd like to have along with the show.
I'm assuming beer too. It is Lemp.
Yes.
They'll probably have Lemp.
They'll go down into the cave underneath and tap on somebody who's passed away and say, "Could you pass up a little lager?" And they'll just pass it up.
Lager. I just met her. I had.
Oh, people would know your show.
Yeah, that's what we do. But it's great because I think that people like that little taste of Halloween throughout the year.
And what we've discovered is that there are festivals all over the country all year long. Poe was born in Boston, although he spent obviously a lot of his time in Baltimore writing and living. He lived in 2 different places in New York City. He and his wife lived on what is now the Bronx Zoo. He built a house for his wife there. He went to Ohio. He and Charles Dickens did a lecture tour together. So Poe got around, which, in those days wasn't a bad thing. But it's just so much fun to kind of capture his life after 9 years. I've just become, he's a part of me, I'm a part of him. And I even start citing my name, E.A. Poe, and then the checks come back. Because
that's never good.
Driver's license,
that's actually fraud, I think.
In certain states,
up on tax evasion.
Like ours.
Right.
Yeah.
With this being, you're doing the stories, and I assume there's little segues in between the bits and everything like that. So how much... Because obviously it's a historical character. We got some people might come there and sit in the front row. He wouldn't have said it like that. Do you get those kind of people, or are people just there to appreciate the Poe-ness of it all?
I'm going to go by the reaction I've had over 9 years of doing it on Old Main Street, which is that I've talked to high school students, high school teachers, people who teach Poe. I do readings of Annabelle Lee, and I'll, of course, do The Raven. And the only question we ever had was, did he have a British accent because he was born in 1809? And we decided that Poe just talks in a very proper, most people back then talked in a very proper manner, and they spoke that way. They read their stories that way. I'm sure when he was at home and he was kicking back and relaxing, he goes, "How you doing, honey? How you doing? Hey, we're in the Bronx. We talk a little Bronx." Yeah, so maybe he talked
Annabelle Lee, get me a beer.
Hey, Annabelle, enough of this stuff. Sepulchre, yeah, come on over here. Yeah. So.
You never know. I was curious how much, obviously you've been playing the character for a while now, so I was just curious if you did additional research for this particular show, or is it just kind of organically now kind of
every year
flows?
I learn something new. Every year I go into other books about Poe. I'm just trying to absorb as much information as possible. The guy only lived 40 years. So, died young and died in someone else's coat. The famous story. I'm asked all the time, what really happened to Poe at the end of his life? And it'd say, well, let me tell you, because they actually dug him up. They found the bones, and they did a DNA test. I can still speak. It's a Sunday night. And they believe that he had a tumor, that he had a brain tumor. But I continue performing anyway because I'm a trooper that way. I don't want to give up. So.
Right. We never say die. The show must go on.
Never. 250 years. Never say die. That's right.
If you're just now tuning in, we're talking with Howie Hirshfield about his Poe. What's the exact name of the event so I don't get it wrong?
Edgar Allen Poe, his life and stories.
Okay.
It's also on the website as his life incarnate, but we don't know what incarnate means, so we're just going to go with his life and stories.
So is Carnate the next place? You're playing in Lemp first, and then Incarnate is the second one?
Or maybe with John Carney.
There you go.
John Carney. That's right.
We could have
almost.
John. We'll see if he wants to come on as well. He could be Dickens.
He could be Dickens.
Then you could, he's a little shorter than you. He'd be a little Dickens. That's my time, folks. Thank you. No, we are going to take a real quick commercial break. If you have a question, I didn't give this out at all. You know what? I'm horrible about this. And for those of you who might be talking in the chats, I apologize. I haven't seen the chats yet. I've been trying to watch for them. I'm going to try to pull up my phone because sometimes they show up there. So if you've said something in the chats, I deeply apologize. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see them right now because of the new Restream screen. I got that out. But if you would like to send us a text, the KTRS text lines are 84126. If you'd like additional information on Howie's show, if you're a Poe fan, this would be a great time for you to go check it out. And if you can't make the Lemp
There's other shows.
Yeah.
And Ticket Leap is the website.
Ticket Leap.
Ticket Leap. Yes.
So if you go to Ticket Leap, type in Edgar Allan Poe, I'm sure it'll come right up. And if you're listening after the fact in the podcast form, we will have a link in the show notes for you to check out there. We'll go ahead and take a very quick commercial break. We will come right back, continue our conversation. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
You're dying. Now, Master.
They change to fight with ghostly might. Turn them into the light, and they change into even more powerful creatures.
Now, the lion in me is free. Take this.
Supernaturals. Lionheart, Skull, and Ghostling sold separately. New from Tonka.
H-I-T-S-T-I-A. Drumsticks. And an amplifier, too. But you don't need drums to make these sounds. It's true. Hit six. Hit six. Play them in the air. You can play them anywhere. That drive you crazy hang about my tune. Hit six. One the only hit six I have.
Master. Meet the Pretenders, who wear a bunch of cats who'll do anything to get out of this pet shop, even dress up like other animals. So if you see us in your neighborhood and you find out we're not what you think we are, you're the best bunny ever. Purr? You're not a bunny. You're a cat. Don't tell, okay? Don't worry. It'll be our secret.
The Pretenders from Fisher-Price. Squeeze them and they really purr.
Wampa! Half Wampa Cave! Look's inside! It connects to House Iron Cannon.
Introducing Hoss World, 3 play sets in 1, new from Star Wars Micro Collection line. 19 die-cast figures and action poses included.
Closed doors. Race tower. Activate Iron Cannon. Connected to Hoss generator attack. Skywalker's hit. Target generated. The world of Hoss is now. Yeah!
Hoss World from Star Wars Micro Collection line. Play sets also sold separately, figures included, new from Kenner.
You can wish upon a star fairy.
I've been so busy granting.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Hello, everybody. It's your pal Greg Proops from Whose Line Is It Anyway? I'm the Specky One, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Let's get it on.
A double dose of Greg Proops. That's my fault. I put him in the automatic thing, and then I played him manually last time. I should have played someone. That's all right. We love Greg Proops. And you know who else we love? Bugs, Comics, and Games. If you are looking to go check out some comic books. If you've seen the new Captain America movie and you're like, whoa, Sam Wilson is Captain America now? Yeah, and he's got his own comic book. You can go check that out. Brand new every Wednesday. Pop by Larry's place out there on Bryan Road, O'Fallon, Missouri. Just saw him today. He was set up at the Toy Man Toy Show in Bridgeton. And if you're new to comic books and you're like, what's all this stuff, this Marvel Cinematic Universe, let Larry kind of walk you through. It'll kind of get you to dip your toe in, and here's some books you might like. And I always say he's like your own personal comic concierge because it's so great. There'll be a father will come in who's obviously a collector. He knows that he's got his son with him or his daughter with him, and they're coming in, and Larry will be like, well, what do you like? And daughter, son, Spider-Man, or I like Batman. Well, maybe you want this one. And it's really kind of cool to see, this generational thing. They're bringing their kids in to get them into comic books as well. And Larry's your perfect guide. He's like your comic book whisperer, if you will. But go check him out if you are maybe wanting to get rid of your collection. Maybe you're at that point, and I know a lot of people are, where I just was talking to someone today at Toy Man, boy, I've just got too much stuff. I need to get rid of it. Well, give Larry a call, Bugs Comics and Games. He'll give you a great deal on your collection, and it's a win-win because then I get to go in and look at new stuff next time I'm there and go through all the stuff that you've just now dropped off, and it'll be loved in my collection. So again, it's just changing hands. If you want to save some money, if you are collecting, join the Avengers Club. That way you start saving money on your weekly pull list. I make sure you do get a weekly pull list so you don't miss the newest Amazing Spider-Man. They're renumbering it. Number 1 is coming back out here pretty soon. You'll be able to grab that. If you're reading Incredible Hulk is fantastic right now. World's Finest by Mark Waid and Dan Mora is brilliant. A lot of cool stuff to be read right now. And of course, the back issues. I always say it's not a comic book store unless you have back issues. So you can dig through all the old comics he's got. He's got some great Silver Age, Bronze Age, Copper Age, into modern stuff. So there's something for everyone and a budget that'll fit anyway. He's got a huge stack, just rows and rows of dollar books if you're just looking for something to read, up to higher end if you're a collector and you want something really nice. Check out the stuff he's got on the wall and the display case, and you won't be disappointed. Follow him on Facebook.com/Bugs Comics and Games, and give him a like on Instagram. He posts stuff up on there, and you can check that out there. Instagram.com/Bugs Comics and Games. Very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. I noticed there is an Edgar Allan Poe comic. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Yes. There's Edgar Allan Poe everywhere.
A lunchbox, maybe?
I don't know about that, although there should be, obviously. And Raven sandwiches are, but you got to eat them fat, keep them refrigerated, and they stay fresh for about 3 days, and then you can't eat.
That's it's poultry. What are you going to do? So.
I know.
I was curious because I love this trivia stuff, and there's all the old terms that we use now all came from Edgar Allan Poe's time, like rot gut liquor.
Yeah.
And that's what Edgar, I've heard it's attributed, you would know better than I, you've done your research, that Edgar Allan Poe used to be one of the people who would, they'd take the liquor that they would use to preserve bodies in the medical labs and the medical shops at the colleges, and they would sell that to the freshman students. And evidently he partook in some of that stuff, and that's where it's rot gut liquor, because literally it's the liquor that the guts were rotting in. That's where we get that term.
Well, he did research because he wrote the first detective story, his Auguste Dupin, Murders in the Rue Morgue, and he wrote a couple of those. But to get those right, because he goes through an entire trial in the story. He talks about a murder victim in great, very thick detail. And to get that right, he did research. He checked out, how bodies are preserved. He could describe, right down to the last detail when they found a body and, how the wound was inflicted. And he wanted to get that right. And he became the father of the modern detective story. Arthur Conan Doyle, when he wrote Sherlock Holmes, said he owed everything to Poe.
Wow.
Because that was the direct lineage for him to write Sherlock Holmes.
And there's the terms that they're kind of synonymous. They're all from the same thing, where you hear dead ringer and Saved by the Bell and graveyard shift, because evidently they found out they were burying a lot of people alive during that time. They didn't know, and so that then you see it in movies like The Great Train Robbery with Donald Sutherland and Sean Connery, where they'd ring a string down into the coffin with a little bell attached, and the graveyard shift. Someone would walk around the graveyard at night listening for, if you woke up and I'm in a coffin, you start ringing the bell. So it's the graveyard shift. If you're ringing the bell, you're a dead ringer. And then if they opened the coffin and they got you out, you were saved by the bell. So all three of those terms come from Poe's time.
Yes, obviously this TV show Saved by the Bell with Paul Gosselaar, you can see a direct connection to Edgar Allan. No, I'm just making that
up. I thought Dustin Diamond did a great Edgar Allan Poe.
Dustin Diamond is a pretty scary character, so he's definitely But yeah, he coined a lot of those phrases. And the thing was, he was just, the macabre for him was everyday life. And that was his whole philosophy, was that this is not abnormal. This is the way people are. This is what scares them. And he knew what scared people, and he went right for the jugular on it, time and time again. Like in The Telltale Heart with the man, burying the man's in parts under the floorboards and replacing each of the screws so that you could not tell that anything was amiss. Mm-hmm. But of course, conscience is a pretty big thing when you've done something like that. It's hard to beat it. And of course, his hero in that story, if you want to call him that, was caught in the act. He was.
Yeah, the anti-hero, I guess. So that's what you would call him, since he is the murderer, but he's also the protagonist of the story.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
He's a very modern thinking writer. And if you think about a lot of his stories, and he wrote a lot of nonfiction. Mm-hmm. Many things were actually kind of tell-alls about the scientific process involved in being a coroner and looking at digging up dead bodies. And he wrote actual nonfiction stories about that as well, just because it fascinated him. Mm-hmm. He just thought that was the most wonderful thing. And we have the stories today as we benefit from that, including, of course, the raven, which actually just kind of sits there above the palace bust of Pallet above his chamber door. His eyes had all the seeming of a demon that was dreaming, and the lamplight o'er streaming cast its shadow on the floor, and that shadow that shall be lifted nevermore.
Love it.
Maybe eventually it'd be lifted.
You never know. I mean, after a while.
New person moves in, the real estate agent. Maybe
the raven gets bored.
It's like, I'm out of crackers, buddy. Right. I'm sorry.
And just so you know, for those of you listening in the chats, I was able to access my Facebook feed on my phone, so I am able to see the chats. I'm going to quickly go through. Joseph Rogers is listening. Briley Braun is listening. Hello to BK on the air from Cartersville, Georgia. Shannon, our friend there in St. Charles, says hi to Joey. The heck with you and I. Yep. But Joey is the star. We know Joey is the rock star. Gordon Montgomery, hey, brother, how are you? Good to see you in the chats there. We've got, let's see, Joseph, Shannon. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anybody at all. Okay, perfect. That should be everybody there. I want to make sure I try to pay attention, because I know that's kind of disappointing when you leave a chat and then you don't get recognized. So I'm sorry if you saw my chat window here. I can't see anything, but luckily I was able to pull up on the Facebook feed. Joey cued me into where they were. So thank you again. The reason you have video tonight is because Joey V's in studio with us again, which we missed Joey. We missed him all last month. He ditched me for Conan O'Brien and the Oscars. But that's all right. I mean, if I had my choice between me and Conan, I think most people would pick Conan. I would pick Conan. I'll tell you what, let's take another quick commercial break. Let's do that, and we're going to come back. If you have a question for Howie about Edgar Allan Poe or his event, Edgar Allan Poe, His Life and Stories, the first tour date or event space is the Lemp, and then after that, you go to the library?
So Friday, March 28th, 29th, go to Ticket Leap for tickets to the last weekend of March.
Okay.
And that's a 7 o'clock show. Doors open 6:30. We're going from there to the Grand Opera House on June 6th. Okay. Up in Old St. Charles for Dinner and a Poe.
Nice.
Is what it's called.
Very nice. Very clever. You had to have named that.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
I figured. That seems like it's very on brand.
Sorry.
So we're going to take a very quick commercial break again. We're going to come right back again. 84126 are the KTRS text lines. Shannon, yes, you did say hi to everyone. I was teasing Shannon, obviously. We love you and we appreciate you listening all the time and watching us as you can tonight. We're going to take this brief commercial break. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
Stronghold! Grab him! Power wings! Oh! Stop! I've got Steelheart and Razor! No way! I'll still win! Never!
Steel Will with Stronghold, Monstar with Sky Shadow, and other figures with Weapon Bird sold separately. Silverhawks, new from Kenner.
Only one man is tough enough to stop the evil outlaw Tex-Hex. He's Brave Star. Neutral Laser and Laser Fire figures sold separately.
You're a buster, Tex-Hex. My Laser Fire backpack makes me unstoppable. Your history, Brave Star. Never. Think you're tough enough for my neutral laser cannon? Watch this. Ah! What happened? Laser Fire.
Neutral Laser, Laser Fire, Brave Star, and Tex-Hex. Each sold separately, batteries not included. New from Mattel.
He-Man in a time warp.
Where am I?
Ancient pre-Eternia, lost land of the dinosaurs. Thunderous Tyrannosaurus Rex battles mighty Bionatops. Ferocious dinosaurs.
/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, James Enstall. Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday night on the Big 550. For those of you walking in front of the window here at the radio station, that's 9 o'clock Central, our time. Yes, you, sir, with the glasses, 9 o'clock. Put it on your calendar for next Sunday. If you're listening outside the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area, it's 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We always appreciate all of you tuning in and listening. And even our friend Shannon, who did say hi to everybody. I was just kidding, Shannon. But if you are looking for something to do, I know we were talking off air about Netflix did the Fall of the House of Usher 2 years ago. It came out. I just saw it this past Halloween. So good. So if you're a fan of Edgar Allen Poe and you like that, the way they did the anthology and they built each episode around a different story of Poe's, but fit into the whole Fall of the House of Usher theme was brilliant. Carla Gugino is going to be at Planet Comic Con in just 2 weeks, so you can go meet Death herself, which she played brilliantly. And we're still trying to bring in, I'm going to let you guys know, we're still trying to get Carl Lumley, who played Dupin in that, obviously voice of Martian Manhunter. He's in the new Captain America movie as Isaiah Bradley. We're trying to bring him in for this event. 2 Rivers Comic Con. Do me a favor. Go to the website, the number 2, riverscomiccon.com. Get your tickets because we've got a limited amount. This is a first-year event, so we didn't want to go overboard and oversell. So our tickets will eventually sell out. Make sure you get yours now. You can get a single-day pass for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, $20 for the day, or save the $10, get a weekend pass, $50. We're going to have Susan Eisenberg, the voice of Wonder Woman. We're going to have Maria Canals-Brera, the voice of Hawkgirl and Wizards of Waverly Place, obviously. Phil Lamar, voice of Green Lantern, plus Samurai Jack, Pulp Fiction. I could go on and on. Futurama. I'd be here all night listing his IMDb resume. We've got Dan Reba, friend of the show, great guy and a very talented artist, director for a lot of the WB. Alan Burnett, and a very talented writer and executive producer on the stuff he's done for the WB. And then, that's not even talking about the comic book people. We've got Keith Williams. We've got Rick Burchett. We've got Chuck Patton. We've got Stephen Butler, Lily Butler. We've got Mark Bagley. And, of course, Roy Thomas, local boy, who was Stan Lee's heir apparent. Stan said, Roy, I want you to take over as editor. When Stan stepped away, he's the one who gave us things like Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night, all the stuff we were kind of now seeing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was a lot of that driven by Roy and his idea, the co-creator of The Vision, co-creator of Wolverine, a lot of cool stuff. So that's all to say, get your tickets now. This is going to be held in historic St. Charles. I just got done telling you all the cool stuff that goes on in St. Charles. We're doing this in historic St. Charles. We'll have the Foundry Art Center will be one of our bases of operation. We'll also have the Steel Shop, which will be another base where we have like comic book creators and writers. If you're listening right now and you want to set up, we do have some vendor spaces available. Reach out now through the website, tworiverscomiccon.com. Click on Community Partners tab. Send us a thing saying, hey, this is what I sell and I'd like to set up. We can give you information to be a vendor. Those spaces are going quickly. Get your tickets now because, again, we will have whatever tickets we have available at the door, but don't plan on getting them at the door. Get them early so you can avoid the rush. You can show up. Here's my email address, and you walk right in. You'll be all set. tworiverscomiccon.com. This is my baby. I'm one of the co-owners of this, so I'm very both nervous and excited and proud. It's a mix of emotions, but we'll hopefully this will grow into a thing that we can build up here like Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, like what Mitch Halleck does brilliantly at Terrificon in Connecticut. This will be something that we start here and it grows and we make it bigger and better every year, and we want to keep this fan-focused and family-friendly. Check it out, tworiverscomiccon.com. Hopefully I will see you there. Talking about Fall of the House of Usher. Wow, that was one of the better series I've ever seen.
Yeah, every time it gets a new version, there's an update. If you go back to the early 60s, William Castle did his Tower of Terror, and he had Vincent Price, and he had Christopher Lee, and Peter Cushing, and Peter Lorre, and more of a campy take on Poe in those days, but with the technology and the angle of Fall of the House of Usher was just phenomenal. And it's always so great to see, and I think that's what's partially fueling every year I say there's a re-interest in Poe. It just grows and grows. So we're going to be at festivals all over the country. There's going to be one happening, I think, later this year in St. Charles, what I'm hearing. And in the meantime, I may be coming to a theater near you. So keep an eye out and go to Ticket Leap and get your tickets for the upcoming shows because they will sell out. So
ticketleap.com and just search Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, and all the shows for the year are on that site. But we'd love to see you at the Lemp Mansion. It is a great place. Great atmosphere, just wonderful. If you'd never been there before, it's kind of creepy and scary and fun.
Yeah. Speaking of selling out, how many did you fit in that theater at the Lemp? How many can get in there?
The Brick Room only holds 75. We have 2 shows, so it's Friday night and Saturday night, total of 150. If we do go over the top, we will book new dates, and we may be adding dinner to it as we go on. Okay. But that dinner in St. Charles is June 6th, and that is on the calendar already. Dinner and a Poe. And we'll have, it's very interactive. I like to take suggestions sometimes at the very end. We'll even do a little bit of a, personalized reading for someone. We're working on that, but I'm happy to oblige, and we'll have our raven, we'll have our candle, we'll have some tombstones, the usual.
Right, tombstone. You're serving pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
Wrong tombstone. Sorry.
Well, not that tombstone, right? Yeah.
And is Mary Shelley joining you at all these events, or is it just the Lemp?
Right now it's just the one on April 26th at Belleville Books.
Oh, Belleville. Okay.
Yes, and then if she's looking forward to it because she stepped away as Mary Shelley. She's going to kind of come around and be our guest appearance there. And Mark Neals, who he'll be Charles Dickens. So,
fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So you don't need Joel Murray to come in, or Carney, or anybody else to come in and be Charles Dickens. You've got Dickens. Not at this time.
Okay. Not at this time. No, but we'll let them know. We'll call them.
Okay, Carney, if you're listening, you're on deck. Just be ready.
Love you, John. Thank you.
John's great. We're coming to the end of the show here. This is amazing. So again, just to let everyone know, ticketleap.com is the best way to go. And if you're listening to this after the fact, in the show notes, scroll down to the bottom of the page and we'll have a link there for that. Just search Edgar Allan Poe and you can catch those dates. So right now it's just the 3 shows, but they will add more if you start.
The 2 shows, March 28th, 29th, June 6th in St. Charles, April 26th in Belleville Books. I'm jumping around. But then there's 4 shows at the Spencer Road Library in St. Charles. 2 are in June and 2 are in September. And, of course, I'm back on the main stage in October at Legends and Lanterns.
Right. So if you miss any of these, you can get up close and personal with Edgar Allan Poe in historic St. Charles for Legends and Lanterns.
The Bird and I want to see you.
That's right. Howie Hirshfield, thanks for coming in studio, too. I appreciate you making the trip in here. It's always nice to have you right in the room, so it's got a little more personal.
I like coming in here. Thank you, guys. And especially to Joey, who's his celebrity precedes him.
He does, yes. When we're glad to have Joey back. Like I said, I kind of, it's interesting, Joey, because I was talking, we've got a couple minutes left. Can you really quickly, because I know you saw Novocaine.
Yeah.
Tell me about Novocaine real quick.
Now, this one has got Jack Quaid. I don't know if you watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, but he played Howie. And The Boys is just a disgusting, gory superhero show. So this was just kind of a lateral move. Novocaine is gory as heck. I loved it. It's about a guy who doesn't feel pain. And he's just a bank manager, but something goes down at the bank. His girl gets taken away, and he goes to chase her down. And the bad guys try to inflict pain on him, and he doesn't feel it. It's kind of like a superpower of his. So I highly recommend Novocaine. There were some sneak peek screenings on Saturday, but it comes out Wednesday, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Nice, okay.
So much fun, and I cared about the love story, too. That was a big part of what made me like it, is just caring about the girl and whether he should save her or not. Because sometimes I'm like, it's just a lady, man. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Right.
Get rid of her.
Yes, I'm sure your girlfriend appreciates that sentiment. Yes, you.
Of course. So Novocaine, look for it. Wednesday is when it comes out.
4 out of 5 stars. Okay, and I very quickly, I saw Black Bag, Cate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender, Pierce Brosnan. Great cast, really good. I love Steven Soderbergh movies, but this is probably my favorite Soderbergh film since Ocean's 11, honestly. Very, very good. I also loved Out of Sight. Those are my 2 favorites, but this one might have nudged Out of Sight into second place. So if you're a fan of Steven Soderbergh, if you're a fan of any members of those casts, it's a really fun, slick, stylized spy flick. Just a lot of fun, so you can check out Black Bag. I think I gave that one 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I saw you on Letterboxd. That's my favorite app to rank movies and share my thoughts, and I was so happy that you have been keeping up with it. I love seeing you on Letterboxd.
You got me on there, so now it's an easy place rather than putting a note on my iPhone and in the notes section what movies I've seen. I can just I'll put it on Letterboxd.
I liked it so much, guys. I gave it 6 out of 5 stars.
Really? Wow, that's impressive.
The math doesn't math, Howie.
No, well,
it doesn't matter.
Means I liked it. It was a lot.
That's good. That's good. But thank you again to Howie for coming in.
My pleasure.
Thank you to Joey V for running video. It's always nice to have Joey in studio with me. I feel very lonely because sometimes I do the broadcast when it's just radio, and I like it because I come in with my hair. I can smoke cigarettes, and none of you know because it's not on video. But it is lonely, so I'm always happy to have Joey V back in studio with me. And thanks obviously to Joel Murray for coming on. He's an hour ahead of us, and like a trooper, he jumped on. Good luck to him and his all the stuff he's got going on down there in Tampa. And of course, check out the Who's Live Anyway tour if you can't get tickets to the upcoming date. He's also in Springfield, Missouri the following day, and then you can catch him October 30th. You could actually go out and see Howie at Legends and Lanterns and then go right to the factory in Chesterfield for the show there. Thank you to all of you who listened. I tried to reply to everyone in the chats. Hopefully I got to everyone. I don't think I missed anybody, but thank you so much to all of you who listen. And until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch iZombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Tampa, Florida. Good night.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck.
The Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.